concept of supernormal growth. Let me now explain what is this supernormal growth all about. Please carefully pay attention to this, please. See beta, what happens when you have applied this perpetual growth model, which was developed by Gordon and therefore also known as Gordon's model. The term perpetual growth means the growth will never end. The share price will keep on growing, the dividend will keep on growing, and the growth rate in dividend will be same as the growth rate in the share price. And that growth will be at a constant rate. That is why we are determining G, and that growth remains a constant rate of growth. And how is that G determined? That G is a product of B into R. That is what we have been learning throughout today's class. That G can also be determined as P1 minus P0 divided by P0. But we can have a situation where there is no constant growth rate, but there is not a normal growth rate, I would say, but a supernormal growth rate. Supernormal growth rate means a rate of growth which is higher than normal growth rate. Just imagine, just try to recall, think over one point, that when there is a new business starting up, a new company starting up, initially if you could see its growth, it will be at a very high rate, very high growth rate in the initial couple of years. Then it will fall down to a little lower rate for maybe another 2-3 years. Again the growth rate will fall down to little lower in another 2-3 years, and then finally the growth rate will be coming to a normal growth rate and would stabilize. That time when the growth rate stabilizes, you can use the formula P0 equals to D1 upon Ke minus G. You can use that formula at that time because the growth rate has stabilized. Why I am saying you can use that formula only when the growth rate stabilizes? Suppose there is a question. I tell you the growth rate in the first 2 years is 20%, growth rate in the next 2 years is 16%, growth rate in the next 2 years is 12%, and thereafter the growth rate stabilizes to 8% indefinitely or perpetually. Then there are 4 growth rates that I am informing you: 20%, 16%, 12%, 8%. Now which growth rate you would consider? You cannot ignore any of them. You have to consider all of them. But when you write the formula P0 equals to D1 upon Ke minus G, G over there has to be one singular growth rate, right? So what would happen in situations of varying growth rate? That is what we have to learn over here, and this is a very, very important concept. So what I am going to do is, I am going to explain you certain things over here on the screen. I would request you to pay attention, understand, and then write. Don't end up just rushing with the writing work. First understand and then write, because once you understand the calculation base, solving questions will be so easy, it will be at click of your finger. So let us do some important writing work right away. Please pay attention on the screen. So I am sure you have written the heading as supernormal growth, and we still write the base formula P0 equals to D1 plus P1 upon 1 plus Ke. Now what we will do is, if P0 equals to D1 plus P1 upon 1 plus Ke, let us split this term and write P0 equals to D1 upon 1 plus Ke plus P1 upon 1 plus Ke. I am sure mathematically you understand this point, right? Now please continue to pay attention. Don't go with the writing content. First pay attention to what I am saying. P0 is D1 plus P1 upon 1 plus Ke. If I ask you to use the same logic and find the value of P1, I'm not asking you to find the value of P1 from that equation. I'm asking you to find the value of P1 using that logic. So use your logic. If P0 was aggregate of D1 plus P1, P1 will be aggregate of D2 plus P2, correct? 1 year gap. If P0 is connected with D1 and P1, P1 will be connected with D2 and P2. So understand one thing, if P0 is D1 plus P1 upon 1 plus K, then using the same logic, P1 will be D2 plus P2 upon 1 plus K. Like that, P2 will be D3 plus P3 upon 1 plus K, and so on and on. So using this logic, we are going to extend this chain of calculation, and let us see where we land up and how do we use this concept in situations of varying growth rate or supernormal growth situations. So let us continue with the observation over here, and as I told you, P1 will be D2 plus P2 upon 1 plus K. Do you know what I am going to do next? I am going to substitute the value of P1. Substitute the value of P1 in the main equation. What I am trying to tell you, let me explain it very well so that there is no confusion at your side. I am going to substitute this value of P1 over here. So when I do that, do you know what I will get? I will get D1 upon 1 plus K as it is, this term remains as it is, whereas what will happen over here, in place of P1, I would eventually write D2 plus P2 upon 1 plus K. This whole value of P1 I am going to substitute over here. If I do that, in the numerator what do I get? Tell me, in the numerator what do I get? I get D2 plus P2 upon 1 plus K, and then the denominator is 1 plus K anyway. In other words, this whole term, how will we read this whole term? It will be D2 plus P2 upon 1 plus K whole upon 1 plus K. In other words, it will be D2 plus P2 upon 1 plus K whole square. In other words, if you split that also, it will be D2 upon 1 plus K whole square plus P2 upon 1 plus K whole square. I'll show you what we would eventually get. So what I have done again, I have written the value of P2 in terms of D3 and P3 using the same logic, and now obviously what I'll do is substitute this value of P2 in this equation over here. So what will I get this whole equation as? P0 equals to D1 upon 1 plus K as it is plus D2 upon 1 plus K whole square plus, instead of P2 I am writing D3 plus P3 upon 1 plus K whole upon 1 plus K whole square. So this whole term, what it will become? D3 plus P3 upon 1 plus K whole cube. In other words, it will be D3 upon 1 plus K whole cube plus P3 upon 1 plus K whole cube. Let me show you that. Now let me explain one more thing. You know, as if you observe this entire equation, understanding this whole thing using a straight logic would also be essential. So please carefully understand this point. Don't be casual at all. This D1 is the dividend that you will receive in the first year, correct? D2 is the dividend that you will receive in the second year. D3 is the dividend that you will receive in third year. These are cash flows that you will receive in year 1, year 2 and year 3. So first year cash flow will be discounted using your expected rate of return for 1 year. Second year cash flow will be discounted for 2 years. third year cash flow will be discounted for 3 years. Why we are discounting all these future cash flows? The obvious objective is to arrive at P0, which indeed is the present value. And of course, P3 is also what? P3 is nothing but the price of the share by end of the third year. Because it is a value that will prevail at end of third year, we will definitely discount it by 3 years. That is why P3 is divided by 1 plus KE raised to 3, where KE is nothing but the expected rate of return by equity shareholders. Let me explain you one more thing which is very, very important over here. Here what you have written is a chain of calculation up to 3 years, correct? D1, D2, D3 and P3. So this chain can be made as long as you want. Suppose I want to make this chain for 4 years. So till 4 years I am holding the share. So what will be my cash flows over 4 years? D1, D2, D3, D4, and at end of 4th year I will have to consider the value of the share, that is P4. Beta, P value I will not get each year. It is only a terminal value. But D1, D2, D3, D4, I will be getting this dividend on year to year basis. Suppose my chain goes to 6 years, what will be my future cash flows? Tell me. D1, D2, D3, D4, D5, D6 and P6. If it is for 5 years, then what will be my cash flows? D1, D2, D3, D4, D5 and P5. If it is for 4 years, it is D1, D2, D3, D4 and P4. If it is for 3 years, D1, D2, D3 and P3. If it is only for 2 years, it is D1, D2 and P2. If it is only for 1 year, then it is only D1 and P1. Are you people understanding my point? Likewise, this chain can be extended to n number of years. If I say n number of years, it will be D1, D2, D3, D4, D5, D6. You keep on counting up to Dn. But because n is the last year, the value of P also will be taken at nth year. And therefore, how will you make this into this equation? How will you substitute all these values to find P0? P0 equals to D1 upon 1 plus KE raised to 1 plus D2 upon 1 plus KE raised to 2 plus D3 upon 1 plus KE raised to 3 plus so on up to Dn upon 1 plus KE raised to n and plus Pn upon 1 plus KE raised to n. This will be your final form of equation. If you understand one thing, this equation got again derived from the base formula. Every time I tell you about the base valuation formula, it is P0 equals to D1 plus P1 upon 1 plus KE. Many formulas got derived out of that base formula. This chain what you are observing is derived from that base formula. Gordon's perpetual growth model, where growth rate is a constant growth rate, also got derived from the same formula. Formulas that you will learn ahead, you also would find that they have been derived from the base valuation model formula. So please make sure that you are logically getting the command over all these equations, so that when you are handling calculative examples, you should be at ease. So what I'll do is I'll just give you that small equation so that you can write it up, and once your writing work is done, we shall move ahead. So please write up this equation. P0 equals to D1 upon 1 plus KE raised to 1 plus D2 upon 1 plus KE raised to 2 plus D3 upon 1 plus KE raised to 3 plus so on up to Dn upon 1 plus KE raised to n and plus Pn upon 1 plus KE raised to n. Obviously, my objective over here is not to put you into troubles. If you are not comfortable with these mathematical chain calculations, I am not putting that pressure on you just in this class. We have many more classes to go ahead. And I have promised you that this chapter is easy going chapter, and I definitely don't want to make you feel that it is anyway complicated. It is not complicated at all, but what happens, continuously putting your brains in calculations, sometimes you may feel little tiredness, and therefore it is okay to skip it for later discussion. What I will do in the next class, I will give you a quick recap of this concept and then start applying this concept for dealing with calculations ahead.